Non-GMO Month. I'm Megan Westgate, the Executive Director of the Non-GMO Project.
And I'm Chris Keith, Outreach Coordinator for the project.
So what we're planning to do today is go through an update of some of the current news with the GMO issue, updates on the Non-GMO Project, and then really focus on prepping for Non-GMO Month, going through the retailer toolkit that we've set up for you all. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. By default, all of you are in listen-only mode, so you're on mute. You'll see a little icon with a hand. If you click that, we will see that your hand is raised and we can unmute you. You can also type questions in. There's a question box there, and you can type questions in at any point. We are planning to leave time for Q&A at the end, but feel free to type in questions as we go, and we can get to them at the end of the presentation. And if you are having any technical difficulties, go ahead and type questions in as well. And I'm just seeing that people are still calling in, but I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to let everyone know that we are recording this also, so that if there are others from your team who you want to share it with who couldn't make it today, it will be available on our website to watch later. So again, the overview of today's session, update on the Non-GMO movement, Non-GMO project info and update, the value of Non-GMO Month participation, and then a review of the retailer toolkit. So part of why we wanted to start with an update on the movement in general is because, as I'm sure you're aware, there is a lot going on in the non-GMO movement right now, and that makes Non-GMO Month this October particularly timely and ripe with opportunity. There's just a lot of focus on this, and it's a great opportunity to stand out as a non-GMO leader in your community. So just so everyone is up to speed on some of the big things that are happening in the Right to Know movement, there are currently a couple of different efforts for mandatory labeling. There's the Just Label It campaign, which is a campaign to get national labeling of GMO products, and that's taking the form of a petition to the FDA. The federal government has always been very resistant in this country to labeling GMOs, even though about 50 other countries around the world have mandatory labeling. A big goal of the Just Label It campaign is really to raise awareness in DC and demonstrate how many people care about this issue. And to date, over 1.2 million people have signed the petition to the FDA. It's not necessarily very likely that the FDA is going to look at all those signatures and say, hey, good idea, let's label GMOs. But it is very effectively demonstrating to decision makers in DC how much the public cares about this issue. Next key thing that's happening right now is the California Right to Know ballot initiative. There are about 20 states actually that have introduced labeling legislation. California is the only one this year that will actually have mandatory labeling on the ballot. So voters in California will get to decide whether or not they want mandatory labels on products saying this may contain GMOs. So for any retailers in California, that's definitely a big focus this year. And with Non-GMO Month in October and the vote being in November, that's very timely. And of course, because California is a big state, this news is going to affect other states as well. People all over the country are watching this. Then the other key piece in the Right to Know movement is, of course, the Non-GMO Project. And how our strategy differs is that while these first two are focused on mandatory labeling of products that contain GMOs, our strategy is to have a voluntary labeling program, and one of the significant benefits of this is that it does not depend on any government regulation or decision. The power is in our own hands to protect a non-GMO food supply with this voluntary labeling. And so this is a market-based strategy for preserving and building our non-GMO food supply. The Non-GMO Project is a nonprofit organization, and it was actually started by retailers like all of you who were getting a lot of questions from shoppers about how to avoid GMOs. And we realized that we really needed to take action, and that what was needed was consistent labeling and consistent standards. And so that's what the Non-GMO project has created. And I'm assuming that all of you are pretty familiar with the project already, and if not, I would encourage you to check out our website, because we're not going to go into a lot of depth about the project today. I did just want to let you know that our strategy, this market-based strategy, is really working. The consumer demand and retailer support for non-GMO project verified products has brought us to where, according to the SPINS data, we're at $1.5 billion in annual sales as of the first quarter of 2012. And that does not include sales at Whole Foods or Walmart. So actually we're at well over $2 billion in sales at this point. And what that means is that because of this consumer demand and retailer support for verified products, more and more companies are sourcing non-GMO, and it's actually starting to affect the supply chain. It's affecting the acreage of non-GMO that's grown. So it's a very effective strategy, and retailer partnership is a really key part of it. And what we are doing collectively is protecting our non-GMO future. So Non-GMO Month was created as a way of supporting this effort and recognizing the critical role that retailers play. We wanted to create an annual program to consolidate all of those efforts and really give you all a lot of great tools and materials to both reward the companies who have verified products so that they continue to be incentivized to source non-GMO, and also, of course, to educate the public and raise awareness about this issue and provide people with non-GMO choices. So Non-GMO Month was started in 2010, so this will be the third annual Non-GMO Month, and it's been very successful so far. So just to look at some figures from last year, in 2011 we had over 1,000 store locations participate, and a lot of that included educating and empowering communities to make reliable non-GMO choices, and we'll go into some details today on tools that we have for helping you do that. Another really exciting piece of this is that we saw the verification of nearly 600 new verified products in just over 1 month leading up to Non-GMO Month. So what we do here at the project is we leverage Non-GMO Month and the retailer support and attention on this issue to encourage vendors to verify more products. We let them know that stores all over the country are going to be hanging up shelf talkers highlighting verified products, and we get them excited to verify more products. And so last year that we saw this huge spike. For context, we just hit our mark of 5,000 verified SKUs. So 600 is a significant portion of that, and so Non-GMO Month is a really important driver in realizing our strategy. We also saw, according to SPINS data, there was an average increase of 7.7% on sales of verified products. And so this slide shows that this is at stores that were registered for Non-GMO Month and tracking sales of verified products at those stores. And it's compared to similar stores who were not registered and what the sales of verified products look like at those stores. So what you can see is this peaked out at a 10.3% average increase during the second week of Non-GMO Month. And this really speaks to the effectiveness of setting up end caps and shelf tags and other things that we'll be talking about today. It's really a win-win for everybody. It boosts sales at your stores. It helps your shoppers appreciate your leadership on the non-GMO issue. It rewards the vendors who have sought and achieved non-GMO project verification and inspires them. And ultimately, all of that really supports our non-GMO mission. So hopefully this is as inspiring to you as it is to us. And I think really what this illustrates is that Non-GMO Month is a really unique campaign in the industry. The comprehensiveness of the tools that we offer and the value that it brings to everyone, and ultimately the effect that it has on this really critical mission is really unparalleled. So we're glad you're participating today and look forward to working with you through October. So we just wanted to share some examples of tools that retailers use in store. So these are some shelf tags, and we've seen that a lot of stores are actually using shelf talkers and shelf tags year-round, not just during non-GMO month, and we certainly encourage and support that. We also recognize that it does take a fair amount of labor and attention, and so what we tell retailers is if you're only going to put tags up during 1 month, October is the month to do it. We also encourage you to put information on your website. A lot of stores are doing this now where they have their non-GMO policies and links even from their homepage because consumers are increasingly looking for this information. Social media is also a key part of non-GMO month, and you can also use it year-round. So this is an example from Co-Opportunity in Santa Monica. They actually regularly, consistently promote how many verified products they have. But during non-GMO month, we have a ton of social media buzz for you to share and promotions that people can participate in. The Non-GMO project currently has almost 74,000 fans on Facebook. So what we see from that, and it just keeps growing all the time, there is so much interest in the social media space in engaging with this issue. And we have the kind of fans who don't just click like once and never come back, but they're regularly visiting, posting comments, asking questions. And so if you're looking to build your own social media tools or just keep them really interesting, including non-GMO content is a great way to do that. And when we look at the toolkit, Chris will be talking about that a little bit more. Another thing that we really encourage people to do during non-GMO month is end caps. So we did an end cap contest last year, and we will be doing that again this year. And our goal is we really want that for any person who goes into a natural food store during the month of October, we want it to be really instantly obvious that it's non-GMO month. And end caps are probably the most powerful way to do that. If you have great signage and you're promoting sales on your end caps, then everyone will see that and can get more information and easily choose non-GMO products. We are working closely with both UNFI and Tree of Life, and there will be lots of sales of verified products during October. Info members will also see sales on verified products during October. Another piece of this is that we have a year-round supporting retailer program, and the way that you can participate in that is by committing to a % of sales donation during non-GMO month, and this is of course optional. All of the components for non-GMO month are totally free. We are a mission-driven nonprofit, and we want as many stores to participate as possible. If it does work for you to do a % of sales or in some other way make a donation to the project, we've seen that stores definitely generate a lot of goodwill in their community by supporting this cause, and then of course your donations to the project help us carry out this strategy, which is the most successful and pragmatic strategy that exists for protecting a non-GMO food supply. So donations are an additional way that you can support, and when you make a donation, you will automatically be registered for our supporting retailer program and get year-round support for your non-GMO efforts. And I do want to acknowledge that this year we are soliciting more participation from retailers in Canada. I'm not sure if we have any Canadian retailers on the phone today. These pictures were taken at the Big Carrot in Toronto last non-GMO month, and the Big Carrot's one of our founding retailers and has really encouraged us through the years to make sure that this program is relevant for Canada. So there is a bilingual verification mark now. And this picture is also just a good example of ways that you can utilize your customer service desk to make it clear that it's non-GMO month and give shoppers information. This is a cute picture from Dean's Natural Food Market in New Jersey. They actually had special non-GMO t-shirts made up for their staff, and as you can see, they had a very clear non-GMO project verified end cap display. So just some action steps before we jump into actually looking at the website and the online tools. First of all, make sure that your store is registered for Non-GMO Month. And again, it is totally free to have access to all of these digital materials and ongoing webinars and training support. And as you'll see in a minute, there are quite a number of tools that you can use as part of your Non-GMO Month effort. But this just kind of breaks it down into a few of the key pieces. So first of all, plan to promote verified products with shelf talkers, end caps, and displays. So promotion is a key part of it. Like I said, making sure that your end caps are set up so that they really inspire anyone who comes into the store and make it clear that it's Non-GMO Month. And again, distributors will have deals on verified products. Second of all, reaching out and educating your community with newsletter articles, press releases, social media, and in-store information. And the newsletter articles are, there's a really great opportunity with those this year because this is such a big issue now with the Just Label It campaign and especially with the California ballot initiative. There's a lot of potential to engage your local media in recognizing your non-GMO leadership and getting excited about the things that you're doing in your stores. And we have templates for all of that that Chris will show you in a moment. And then training floor staff on the talking points is really critical. Of course, as you're all well aware, your shoppers expect you to be experts on lots of things, and non-GMO is certainly one of them. And we want to really support you in that so that if a shopper speaks with anyone in your store, they can speak clearly to the value of non-GMO and what your store is doing to support non-GMO. And so we'll be doing a webinar in September just in time for Non-GMO Month so that it's fresh in the minds of floor staff, that they feel really confident in how to talk about the issue. And so we really encourage you to get as many people as possible trained for that. And with that, we're ready to switch over to the website. I just want to say that, as you'll notice here, there are tools for multiple different departments. So you may, whether you're in outreach or merchandising or front end, we really encourage you to engage everyone on your team in being part of Non-GMO Month because there are aspects that are relevant for every different department, and the more departments that you engage, the more successful your event will be, and I'm sure Chris will speak to that more as we actually go through the website. So with that, we are going to switch over and take a look at the website.
So I will be jumping in to speak with you folks for the next couple of minutes. Megan has done a really wonderful job lining up kind of the shape of the tools that are available and the ways in which you folks can get involved and the ways in which we are ready to support you in your Non-GMO Month efforts. What you see on screen right now is the homepage of nongmomonth.org. This is kind of the jump-off place for a lot of your retailer tools, and it's also a really good site for consumers to get involved with the event, learn more about the event, find Non-GMO Month events, get involved with daily giveaways of non-GMO project verified products, all sorts of things.
And I will just jump in here and say that the homepage, as you'll see, it's a little bare bones right now because we've just been loading the content for 2012. If any of you are planning to do in-store events during Non-GMO Month and know about them now, the sooner you register them, which you can do on this website, they'll show up on that homepage box and will actually help promote your event on that website. And we had about, I think, 30,000 visitors to this site during Non-GMO Month last year, and I'm sure it will go up this year. So this is a great place to promote yourself.
Thank you, Megan. From this page, there are a number of places we can go. I think the big things you'll want to look to are this link right here at the top of the page, reading Find Retailers. If you're not sure today whether you are already registered, whether your store is already registered to participate in Non-GMO Month, clicking on that link will bring you to a very clear-cut listing of all of the retailers that are currently involved. 422 stores have registered so far, and we're hoping for over 2,000 this year. This is easily searchable by business name or by state. Coming back to that home page, I'll touch on the link for retailer registration itself. If it turns out that you are not actually registered already, and I will be sending a link to this page with the follow-up email to this webinar as well. But clicking on or mousing down the Participate dropdown to Retailer Registration will take you right to the registration page itself. It's a nice short form. It gives us all of the information that we need to communicate with you, to support you in your work, to get you any materials that you might order, and then to, as Megan said, communicate with manufacturers about how many retailers are involved and how much attention is being paid to this issue. Your contact information is, of course, private. We really just do this so that we can dialogue with you, and we're very focused on making sure that your information is your information and does not get shared. As far as resources are concerned, the Retailer Toolkit is kind of where it's all at. This page is a protected page this year. It's accessible only to non-GMO month retailers. So you have at your hands a host of tools that will help you really stand out above your competition locally and really help you connect with your community.
We're already logged into this page, but if when you go to this page for the first time, you'll see a little box on the bottom that asks you to enter the password that you'll receive when you register. And once you enter that password in, you'll stay logged in, and also you can set your browser preferences to remember it so it's easy to log in the future. And then once you enter your password, then you can have access to everything that Chris will show you.
Spot on. So when Megan was talking about the Retailer Toolkit and about Non-GMO Month, she did a really nice job of outlining the structure of the materials that we make available. There are materials accessible through this menu on the right side of the page that are focused on education and outreach to community, that are focused on merchandising and sales, and that are focused on training and in-store policy. I'm going to take you briefly through all of those so that you can see what some of the things you'll have available at hand in the lead up to Non-GMO Month are. We have a page dedicated to newsletter content. This is a short announcement that you can run in your September newsletter, is just telling your customers that you are participating in Non-GMO Month and giving you an opportunity to speak to any events you might be hosting or special things that you're doing around the occasion. A couple of sidebars to run with newsletter articles, helping people through the basics of the GMO issue. What are GMOs? Why choose non-GMO? How to choose non-GMO? These kind of simple things that unfortunately a lot of people so far just haven't had the chance to be exposed to. There will also be a couple of newsletter articles focused on specific groups, one for Canadian retailers, one for U.S. retailers, and one for cooperative retailers who are members of the National Co-op Grocers Association. All of the content, though, will be built off of one platform. And this year, after a couple of requests from retailers, the focus is going to be on what it takes to become non-GMO project verified, giving people an opportunity to engage with all of the work that manufacturers are putting into going non-GMO and keeping their supply streams clean, and giving you a couple of opportunities to plug in information or quotes about your commitment to non-GMO in your store and the things that you and your staff are doing to make non-GMO choices available to your customers. Paired with all of that kind of traditional print media, we are in the process of putting together social media copy that you can use as a starting place for your social media platforms. These will be quick facts. These will be things that you can use to get your online presence and your online followers engaged and help bring people into the store, help engage people with the issue, and help them start making non-GMO choices. The social media page of the Non-GMO Month Retailer Toolkit has some basic hints for how to effectively use social media for those of you who aren't really doing that so far. And we will, as I mentioned, have canned tweets and canned Facebook posts that you can use in addition to anything you have the time to come up with yourselves. A lot of what you're seeing on this toolkit page is digital material. These are things that you can print out in stores, that you can use online, that you can copy and paste into your own forums. The Non-GMO Month Material Orders page is your source for print materials and for print promotional items. These are the actual hard copy pocket guides. These are the Non-GMO Project tote bags that people have been such big fans of. These are all, they're actually really, really nice. You can see a photograph here. And they are recycled cotton, and they're really beautiful, and they hold groceries very well, in my personal opinion. You'll also be able to order posters that highlight your participation in Non-GMO Month in store.
And for retailers who do choose to support the project with a donation during Non-GMO Month and be part of the Supporting Retailer program, there are free print materials. You can order at no cost a poster and 50 pocket guides, so it's kind of like a little starter kit thank you that you can share with your customers.
This is the beginning of the materials order page. I'm not going to jump into it because it's essentially just an order form. But to give you guys a little bit of context or a little bit of a leg up on how this works, this also is a protected page and is designed to work only for retailers who are actually participating in Non-GMO Month. So you'll plug in the first word or the first couple of letters of your store name on this page, and that form will auto-populate with any retailer names that have been registered so far. If you're here with the Community Food Co-op, you could type in community. It would auto-populate your store's name and let us know that the Community Food Co-op in downtown Bellingham is registered and has placed an order. Moving on from outreach, and this is kind of the nuts and bolts in store of Non-GMO Month, we get to merchandising and sales tools. There is a lot that distributors are putting out there, making available for retailers and natural foods that is Non-GMO Project verified and heavily promoted, heavily on sale during Non-GMO Month. This is something that we've taken your feedback on and really tried to make happen. So I know that this year there's promotional pricing on things up to, I think, 30 or 35% off. That takes it as far as giving your buyers an opportunity to easily bring in and promote Non-GMO Project verified products. A lot of the rest of this, though, is up to the merchandising, and your work in merchandising can do a lot to really help your customers A, recognize that you are trying to make a priority of Non-GMO, and B, help them start actively making choices in the aisles. The image that you see on screen is from PCC, I believe, in Seattle. And this is one of 3 different shelf talker designs that we've made available for you to use in store. We're working on a number of fancier designs right now. But we have things that will fit into standard 1 1/4 inch channel rails very easily. We have big shelf danglers like these and things that you can add promotional pricing information to as well. Shelf talkers are extremely important and extremely useful in helping people start making choices as they walk down the aisle, and can do a lot to help raise awareness of the verification mark and of the availability of reliable non-GMO choices. You've seen a few images from the NCAP contest. end cap planograms will be made available as well that are intended to highlight non-GMO project verified products. These things are in production right now by a couple of the distributors, UNFI and Tree of Life, that have been really committed to non-GMO. And they're just standard 3 or 4 foot end caps, but built with non-GMO month in mind. The final thing that I'd really like to touch on, and this is one of the best ways you can get your staff at large involved, is the retailer training webinar that we have planned for September 10th. This is an opportunity for you to get all of your front-end staff, your grocery staff, the folks who are actually out there on the front lines answering questions from customers and representing your store to your customers, the basic information that they need to really do a good job with that. Speak to what you're doing in terms of non-GMO month events, and also address the many consumer questions that come up around this very complex issue. The webinar will be focused on communications from retailers and will run for roughly a half an hour, giving retail staff the tools that they need to address those questions adequately and really represent your commitment well.
So with that, let's dive into the questions, and it looks like a fair number of people have typed questions in. I don't see anyone's hand up, so it seems like everyone's typing things in, so that's great. Okay, so there's a question. If we're part of the NCGA, are we automatically registered for Non-GMO Month 2012? The answer to that is no. That would be nice. Maybe you could suggest it to them. But actually there is value in having individual stores register themselves, just so that we know that you definitely want to participate. So as Chris pointed out, it's easy to register. It only takes a minute, but you do have to register yourself. There is an option also of registering with your Tree of Life or UNFI distributor or broker, so you can talk with them about that, but you can also just easily go onto our website. Another question, can I get a copy of this presentation for meeting with my buyers and store manager? Absolutely, we will. We've been recording this, so you can have the presentation complete with our lovely audio, and you can share that. So Chris, Chris will send out a follow-up later and include a link to this. Yes, okay. Our October newsletter deadline is early August. When will the full articles be available?
Full articles will be available by late July.
Great. If we were registered last year, are we automatically registered for 2012? No, you're not, although you are on our list and we'll be getting lots of reminders to register, but again, you do have to and it'll be easy to fill out the form, and I guess there isn't any data that's saved though, but it'll only take a second. So there's a question, is the webinar in September similar to the training video that circulated for the last couple of years, or is there additional information? There is definitely additional information. We have launched a Managing the Non-GMO Message series, and we have a Non-GMO Communications Toolkit that goes with that, and that will really be a lot of the focus of this training in September. So as opposed to spending a lot of time talking about which crops are GMO and how's this affecting our food supply, I mean, we will touch on that briefly, but a lot of the focus will be, how do you talk effectively to shoppers about this issue? What are the top 3 talking points, and what are important things to keep in mind when communicating about this? And if you want a preview of that, we have on our main website at non-gmoproject.org, under Get Involved, you can find our Non-GMO Communications Toolkit and take a look at that. And it's based on a lot of polling, surveys, focus groups that have been conducted over the last year or two, media analyses. And and it has some really effective content for how to speak clearly about this issue. So that's going to be the focus of the webinar in September, is really giving staff very practical tools for talking with shoppers about this issue. Okay.
We had another question. When the retailer toolkit will be available and where we can find it. All registered non-GMO month retailers will be given password access to the retailer toolkit either this week or on the day that they register. Release will happen either tomorrow or Thursday, and the great majority of the content is already in place. So it's really just a matter of getting communications out to all you folks and letting you start planning.
So there's another question, how many products have been non-GMO verified so far? There are over 5,000 non-GMO project verified SKUs. We just crossed that threshold in the last couple of weeks. We're very excited about it and now have our eyes on the 10,000 product mark. So the enrollment is building very quickly. Verification is going quickly, thanks in large part to all of the retailer recognition for verified products. And so again, your active participation in non-GMO months directly impacts and improves the number of verified products that are available in your stores and for your shoppers. There was a question about if the September 10th training will be available after the 10th as well, and so you can rotate staff through. Yes, it will. We will record it just like we're recording today's, and so that if you want to set up a viewing for your staff at a time that's more convenient, maybe tie it into one of your all-store meetings or team meetings, it's available to do that. Okay, and that looks like all of the questions. Oh, more questions. Will there be any written training materials available?
I think we'll probably have a PowerPoint with notes that you guys can take to your staff if that's easier. There will also be a series of brief and probably pretty quirky logbook notes that will hopefully get staff attention and give them some of the basic information that they need without having to attend a full-blown webinar or training.
And we also have like little apron pocket guides so that staff who are at the registers can just have a handy reference of some of the basic FAQs. So that's an important training material. And then we also have FAQ pocket guides, which you can order on the materials order page, or there is a trifold version if you want to print it out in-house. While that's not specifically a training material for staff, it is a really useful education material to have at your service desk really year-round, but especially during non-GMO months. And that way, not all of your staff have to be experts on every single crop and ingredient that's at risk. They can just have a handy guide to pass along to anyone who asks. Okay, and with that, that looks like all of the questions that we had. So again, we will send out a follow-up this afternoon with a link to a recording of this presentation and a link to the registration page. And then one of the things we didn't really speak to is that once you are registered, you will get lots of emails from Chris. He has quite a slew of emails lined up. It's an appropriate volume. We've done surveys after non-GMO months the last 2 years and gotten very good feedback about the frequency. But basically, our goal is to really support you in remembering to move forward these different pieces and engaging everyone from your team and getting all the pieces lined up. So we provide a lot of support in that way, and we actually just hired on a retailer programs assistant who is now working with Chris. So we have a strong commitment on our staff to getting you anything and everything that you need, and also to providing lots of reminders. So again, once you register, you'll be hearing from us soon.
And should you have any questions, or if you are in need of support or have ideas for materials that would make it easier for you to do your work on non-GMO month, do feel free to get in touch with us directly by email. retailers@nongmoproject.org will get to me or my colleague, Ariel, and we can get back to you shortly with whatever you need.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.